Okay. No, I don't think that's, well, anyway, you can see fine, right? Okay.
Yeah. If you go down to the
So,
bottom of the screen, Maria, it's the little icon
yeah,
with the, keep going.
here,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
finally. It's too small for me. I couldn't see it. Thank you. Well, anyway, I think probably some of the things I'll be saying today you already heard in the master classes you had before. But again, one of the important things to remind you is the research. I hope all of you done a lot of research when you were writing the scripts, but doing research during your pre-production is also very important. What you could be finding during your research are obviously stories, but that's something you already found during development stage. Photos, because you'll need a lot of basically digital props for your Screenlife shorts. You need photos of your characters at their social networks. You need photos to fill in, I don't know, news articles. You need photos inside the folders. You will need a lot of photos, I assure you. And the same goes with videos. You could research videos that you could use inside your Screenlife movies. For example, we did one comedy in United States, and that has a lot of jokes when characters are sending each other videos that are just funny. And those are videos that we licensed from the internet and we didn't shoot it. So that's just another instrument that you have. But also research is important of videos and then photos as a reference. I don't know, reference of costumes, reference of desktops, reference of any scenes that you will have inside your film. Like when Timur was directing Profile, this movie about ISIS, his co-producer Olga Harina, I think, found each and every video about ISIS that's available online. The same goes with photos. Like she found photos where she saw that terrorists eat Nutella for breakfast, or that they have a lot of cats living with them, etc., etc. So research makes your stories really grounded, and they give you a lot of creative ideas, actually, what to include in your stories, in your editing, and just how to visually diversify your materials. So the next important thing to create is protagonist world. Usually what we advise to do is to have either separate computer if you could, or create a separate account on your laptop or on the editor's laptop that would create the protagonist world. Choose what would be the desktop picture. Choose what would be the icons and folders that are on the desktop. What would be the naming, how they will look like. Is it a messy desktop or is it absolutely clean? Is it Mac or is it Windows? Is it his photo? Is this the family photo? Is it some famous art? What would be good for your character to have as a desktop picture? Create all the social networks for your character, even if you don't plan to use all of them in the editing. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That would help you again to think through who is your character, because usually there are a lot of questions that you need to fill in, like year, university, marriage status, and all of that. And it just would give you more thought about your character. But also it's a handy instrument to use during your shoot, because if you have like Facebook inside the script, your actor could log in real Facebook under the character name, and you could record screen while the actor is actually acting. And even if you don't use it in the editing, you could use it as an editorial reference, because the actor would be playing with this digital props in real world. Again, same goes with photos. Think of the photos you might need beforehand, so that you include them in your production schedule to make all of those photos, or maybe ask your actor for the photos that you might need, like from the childhood or from vacation or whatever. Usually actors are very open to sharing some of the personal photos for your digital world. And also create email for your protagonist. Most of the stories require email of the protagonist. And again, when you would be using the real Gmail during the editing, you will go not to an empty account, but to an account that has some emails. What I usually advise to do is not just to create email, but also to sign up for different services like Groupon, probably you have, or I don't know, any services again that your character might use, who would send you weekly newsletters or discounts and stuff like that. So that inbox becomes full with those kind of promo/spam emails, so that when you go to editing it, there's already live in this Gmail. It's not completely empty. So the next thing we usually advise to do, I don't know, probably some of my colleagues already talked to you about that, is what we call previs. Basically, it's dirty editing of your story. When we were doing searching, our director shot himself playing each of the characters, and then editors edited these videos together with the screens. And the screens didn't have to be completely perfect, but still it gave them the pacing, it gave them the visual style of the film, it gave them the composition of the frame and all of that. So we really advise before going on set to do this like dirty cut previous of the whole story, record all the screens and all of that, and edit the story before really doing it. So production schedule, obviously, most of our Screenlife movies are much shorter in production than standard movies, because usually they have less locations and you don't have the camera crew and all of that. That takes a lot of time. But I would say there are two main approach of how we previously did our Screenlife movies. The first approach I call unfriended approach. When we shot Unfriended, it was all one location. We rented one big house and decorated 6 rooms in the house as if these are rooms from different locations. So the whole crew and all the actors were at the same building. From production point of view, of course, it was really easy to shoot. And also they were doing it as a play. So they had 1 week of rehearsals beforehand. As a result, all of the actors knew very well all of their lines. They knew all of the lines by heart, as if they were doing a play. And the whole movie was done in 1 take. And then we had 1 take in the morning, lunch break, more rehearsals, and then another take in the evening. And we did it for 7 days. So as a result, we had 14 takes to edit from. So that's one way to go. But searching was more traditional approach. It had many locations. Not all of the actors were talking to each other simultaneously, but if possible, I would advise for you to film actors simultaneously, even if they're at different locations. During lockdown, we did it a lot when actors were at home, crew was at home, everyone was at home, and we shot the whole film through Zoom, and actors were interacting with each other. It gives, of course, much more energy to the whole shoot, and the whole acting looks more organic. And again, think of what footage you could use to make the film look bigger, because Screenlife allows you to edit things together. Like, for example, if you have a scene at a nightclub, you don't need to rent a huge nightclub, have a lot of extras and film it as you would for a traditional movie. You can find footage of a night at the nightclub, that people dancing and all of that, and then just shoot a close-up on your iPhone of your actor and have the same music in the background as you had in your footage, and it would create a feeling that your actor is at this nightclub. So be very creative of which footage from the internet you could use. And of course you would need to license it, but still it's easier and cheaper than shooting it most of the time. And it would make your production value bigger. So casting, it's just, I mean, obviously for your work right now, you could use whoever you could get. But basically during Screenlife movies, we had this discussion whether we need to use unknown actors like it was in Unfriended and in Unfriended Dark Web and in Profile, because we thought that Screenlife is part of found footage, so that all the whole video should look very, very realistic. But after we did searching, we are now trying to have celebrities or just great actors, because really it doesn't matter. Screenlife is not found footage. Audience completely understand that those are made up stories. So you could use whatever actors you can. But again, great thing is that you could shoot most of the actors from their homes and you don't need a lot of time from them. So that really opens up your possibilities of finding good actors. Budget. So that's on my slide. You can see now cover page of a traditional budget for a US production. I assume that British budget looks more or less the same. So above the line, you have things that don't really depend on number of shooting days. This is your script, director and producer's fee, and cast fees. Then goes the production part below the line. Production itself, these are your line producer and whatever you need as administration help and production help. Camera is camera rent. Probably you would use GoPro or just the webcam of your computer or mobile phone. I assume you don't really need any better cameras than that. Production sound, I would advise to use the same sound equipment as usually is used for traditional movie, because sound is still important. And usually recording both video and sound on your iPhone is complicated, and rent sound equipment usually is not that expensive. So if there's an opportunity, I would advise to use sound equipment, but of course you could record sound with your iPhone as well. Again, during lockdown, we did it all the time. We recorded video with a GoPro and audio on iPhone, and it worked very well. Then goes electric and grip, art, whatever you need for your production, wardrobe, hair and makeup, locations, transportation, usually is almost zero on Screenlife movies. And then the post-production, editorial, laboratory, which is again almost zero right now, sound, music license, accounting, legal and insurance, and some small fees for marketing like a poster or trailer or something like that. So the film crew that you would probably need is editor, who's super important. I guess some of you edit yourselves, which is great for Screenlife movies. It gives you much more freedom. But if you don't, you would need an editor. AD, someone who would help you plan the production. But again, because most of your stories are short, I don't think that all of you really need that. Art department, including the production designer, wardrobe, makeup, whatever you need. Technical support, I advise to have on set someone who would help you with all of the cords, recording on your camera, changing the memory sticks and all of that, so that it doesn't take part of your mind, and so that there's someone on set who's responsible for that. And probably you would need a line producer, someone who would help with all the managing and organizational stuff. And before going in production, you usually do a green light package. So it would be great if your green light package would include character Bible. That's basically what I described before. Everything you know about your character, locations you chose, costumes you chose, props, casting, budget, and schedule. And that's it. That's basically all I wanted to tell you about pre-production, and I'm happy to answer your questions. If you have any.
Thanks for that, Maria. That was really helpful. I'm really Unfriended was filmed in one location in 6 rooms in one shot. I want to just say a little bit more about that, how that worked. What did you have? Were people on in 6 rooms all online at the same time acting the story, or how did it look?
That was like theater, but instead them being on the same stage, they were in different rooms. So it was one huge house. Each actor was in a separate room, and then there was a separate room where all the crew was, and each actor had a computer. All of the computers were wired together. They didn't use internet and Skype just to make the connection better, so they were like hardcore wired to each other. So each actor could see on their monitor on their laptop all other actors, and they could hear the sound, and they were just interacting with each other as if they were on Skype, but basically they were all in the same house, sitting in different rooms.
And then you just ran through the story as one shot and did screen capture from each of the screens.
They didn't do the screen capture, they recorded only acting. All the screens were then edited separately.
Okay. Okay, so you had 6 rooms with 6 different cameras.
Yes.
Calling the actors, then it was all edited together at the end. Wow.
Mm-hmm. But again, lockdown taught us that you don't need to be in the same room or in the same house. And again, Unfriended was already, 6-7 years ago. Since then, we have Zoom and the internet connection in general became better everywhere in the world. There's a lot of new soft and everything, and all of the actors now have better equipment at home. So really, it's not a problem to shoot remotely with each actor being at their homes, like we all are right now. We could, we could play out Unfriended script easily.
I think one of the things that's just said to me is maybe a lot of the things that we're planning over the next couple of weeks are a little bit overthinking it and trying to operate in a very traditional way of filmmaking, because like Maria's just said, the proof of concepts, it's just about getting that concept down, and then once it goes into it gets the green light for production, then you can do it. But the reality of it, and I'm just dead conscious that there's someone here who we've been talking about sound. Ronan and I have been talking about sound for a couple of weeks now, well, a couple of months now, for one of the productions that are going to be done, and it is okay to do it through the iPhone 12, because I think there's also the little sound recording things that you can get for these things, which I bought at the beginning of lockdown, which gives like perfect sound. It's like it's being recorded through the IK Media stuff. There's ways around everything, isn't it? Just opens up. There's just the possibilities are endless now. I mean, I think the message from that presentation is you have the tools within your own desktop and within your own.
I really call Screenlife filmmaking guerrilla style. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't need film crew, you don't need any equipment. I mean, any iPhone would do. I mean, Samsung also is great. Samsung actually is even better if you're shooting at night.
Yeah.
So whatever phone you have.
Yeah, I was
actually,
going to say.
The webcam of your laptop is also good enough. I mean, you're not going to show your proof of concept on IMAX screen. Mm-hmm. So you don't need 4K quality, although the latest phones shoot 4K as well. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Full HD is fine enough for the purposes of proof of concept.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ronan, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Sorry, no problem. I was chatting with fast sound recorders recently, and we found these like Rode lav mics that basically plug into your iPhone.
Yeah.
And they work amazingly. They have such clean quality. I think that's such a good angle to go down if anyone's worrying about production sound.
Yeah. I was just thinking. Are you worrying about it, Ronan? Now that we've got that sorted.
It's all good.
Again, that's why I said you need like what I call technical support. But basically, I mean, I guess again, most of you like you, Ronan, are tech savvy enough. But if you don't, just find anyone who knows better than you how to connect all the equipment in the proper way. I guess one thing I would advise, it's just, again, most of the actors can do it themselves as well. But if you feel that your actor is not very tech savvy or whatever, just make sure that there's someone to help, even if the actor is at home. Because you don't want actor to be thinking all the time, like, did I press the record button? Did I do this? Did I do that? You want them to act, you know? So if you feel that your actor is not good enough with that and it would take a lot of the time, or that there is risk they would lose material or something like that, just make sure there's someone to assist them, either remotely or just near them. But other than that, there are really no problems. All of the Appl equipment is so good right now that you don't need anything better than that.
I think another thing, that this is another conversation that I've been having with somebody else this week, is about how to compose. So because the opportunities, you know, you can see in a different way, you can do things in a very, very different way. However, they're really interested in working with composition for the format. So you know, with the thinking, shall we do it? Can we go down like the Kubrick style? Can we go down the Sam Mendes style? Can we make sure the composition's perfect? And I'm thinking, well, absolutely do whatever you want, because actually during lockdown, people have started to check out what's going on in the background. So when we went last March, when we kicked off, there was washing in the background, wasn't there? There was things going on. But now you see that the books are perfectly situated. The titles are actually the right titles, you know. So I think, again, I was a little bit worried, because I was thinking, oh, can it be over composed? But actually it's game on again, isn't it? We can do whatever we want.
I have a question.
Oh, you go, Andrew.
Hi, Maria. I was just wondering, out of all the proofs of concepts that you've seen over the years, which part, what's the thing that most lets them down? What do filmmakers overlook maybe when presenting?
Well, what I usually pay attention to three things when I look at proof of concept. First is storytelling. So the story itself should be compelling, and dialogues and all of that. Second is acting. Honestly speaking, most of the Screenlife films that I saw that were not really done by like big professionals, what lets them down is acting. Because in Screenlife, you have less instruments to hide behind. It's mostly just heads talking. So, you know, the actors you choose should be the best of what you can choose, really. The acting is important. And then the third thing is editing. Because again, Screenlife for me, I mean, the perfect thing is searching. I think we still haven't done anything better than searching. But what lets down most of the filmmakers in Screenlife is editing. It's either boring or unnatural, or I don't know, just not beautiful, or the rhythm is bad, or whatever. So honestly speaking, the most important thing would be the post-production and editing.
Thank you.
Yeah, the rhythm's really important, isn't it? But there's also that just talking about the reality of it. So somebody sent me something through before, and I thought that looks quite beautiful. That the rhythm was like really, really stunning, and then you went from one piece to another, highlighted here, highlighted there, and then got to the bottom, and the rhythm was beautiful. But I was thinking, how real is it? Well,
I mean, it depends again on the story. If you're doing like a music video, then I guess rhythm is more important. If you're doing a thriller, you need to make sure there's a suspense. If you're doing a comedy, you need to make sure that you found something funny in the way you edit it. You can, if you haven't seen it, I don't know if it should be available somewhere in the UK. There's one episode of Modern Family, you know, this American TV show. I think it's either season 4 or season 6. the last episode of this season is a Screenlife episode of Modern Family. And it's an episode where the mom of the family is at the airport and she Skypes with the rest other members of the family. And it's another great example of Screenlife editing, and they found there are a lot of funny things to it. So again, obviously the instruments would depend on your story and your genre as well. And again, I mean, yes, the way you described it right now, like in searching when you're like dancing on the screen, right? It's one way to go when you have zooms and zoom ins and zoom outs. But remember, Unfriended was done in a way that you don't have it. And still it's a super suspenseful movie where you don't have any zooms. It's just one screen, but there is your cursor that you follow, and there are the windows that like change and open and close. So you're never bored, even though it's an absolutely different style of editing. So when you edit Screenlife things, it doesn't have to be with a lot of jump cuts and zooms and all of that. It's whatever works better for your story.
Andrew, oh, that's you, Andrew. Has anybody else got any questions?
Just wanted to pick up on something Maria said, and I think she was talking about pre-production of the actual film, about licensing third-party images. That's not necessary for proof of concept.
Yeah, for proof of concept, it's not necessary.
Right, so we don't need any licensing.
Yeah, so again, you can go even wider and bigger. You can use, I don't know, Titanic in your movie, or I don't know, anything. Just be creative. I can send you also, if I find it, John, if you could remind me, the link. There's one great short that was done during lockdown, not by us, but by one American documentary filmmaker. And what he did, there's an American app, and I forgot what it's called, but basically it's an app where B-star movie actors record like birthday cards for people for like $50 a card or something like that. So he used this app to get to all of those actors who are still recognizable faces. And he made the whole short film with them during lockdown, which was pretty funny. Yeah, Cameo, right? That's the app. And I think the short called Cameo as well. But anyway, because it's just a proof of concept, you can be very creative. And the same like goes with locations. For example, like again, if you have a big film crew and you need some very, very nice apartment, it's hard to find, it's expensive and all of that. But with Screenlife, you can go to Airbnb, which I'm sure are pretty empty right now as no one travels. And or on Airbnb, choose any apartment that you like that fits your character and just rent it for a day and send your actor to this apartment, and don't spend money on renting locations or on art department. Just choose on Airbnb whatever you like, because you have such a small crew.
Yeah, the crew.
And the same like with filming on the streets. Sorry, John, but I just made the Screenlife movie in Russia, and we did several shots on subway. And usually it's super expensive and almost impossible to get permission to shoot in Moscow subway. But we just went with an actor and an iPhone subway and shot there. And it gave a lot of production value to the movie for like no price. So the same, you can go on to the streets, you can go to, I don't know, wherever you can go. You don't really need any specific permits, I guess, because it will be just you and your phone. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, I guess, Andrew, to answer your question of what else is important, I guess, yeah, production value is another important thing. I mean, even in Unfriended, I don't know, honestly speaking, how to explain it. Unfriended is just 6 rooms but of course the design of each room was thought through, and so you still see some production value in it. But with our latest movies, we're trying to extend production value through using footage, licensing videos, or having actors go somewhere outside. So you can think about that as well.
Mm-hmm. So has anyone else got any other questions? No, Maria, listen, I really, really appreciate you coming on tonight. I know that it's late there and you're probably desperate to go and have a little bit of a rest. So thank you so much, and I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. See you soon.
Good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I was just looking there for some footage that I took on the Moscow subway last year, which was amazing. And of course they've got like really cinematic. They've got really cinematic subways. Ours has got them little brown things, hasn't it? The only thing cinematic is the circle, which is the train coming through. But again, like great advice there, because I think like particularly for me in the conversations I've been having over the last couple of weeks, we do tend to overthink things and actually trying to move away from that traditional way of filmmaking is the most difficult transition from traditional filmmaking to Screenlife film, because we're taught, aren't we, that everything has to be just right in terms of sound. It always has been, hasn't it? If the sound's no good, then your production's no good. However, there's a little bit of room there. So Ronan, I feel comfortable with the solutions for sound. Don't know about you. And also the locations, everything that she's just said there has just simplified the whole process for me. And I think needing that consistent reminder that it's just about going and doing it.
What was the name of that piece of kit, Ronan, that you mentioned earlier on for the iPhone?
It's called the Rode Lav mic. Let me get the exact name. I'll pop it in the script chat now, sure. The Rode Smart Lav Plus. It's like 50 quid, and it does a really good job of getting clean audio. And it's really easy just for actors as well. It's so simple because you just literally plug it into the iPhone, so they don't have to like set levels or anything, which is really nice, because they'll just get confused if you have anything more complicated than that. I'll pop a link in now.
So has anybody else got any what's the word for it? It's not fears, but just moving towards putting their proof of concept together. Did that make life easier for you, or are you still a little bit? I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Is anyone scared of what we've got ahead of us, or are we happy to just do it? I suppose that's the easiest way of putting it.
We're all good, Joe. I'll answer. Myself, Nick, and Chris Davies, we've all come together on it this week, and we're full steam ahead now.
Oh, yeah, that's good news, Janie.
Yeah, so it's all good. We've done some casting as well, got our actors involved now and stuff. So, yeah, we've got our heads around it all, and yeah, it's all good.
That's good. So are you comfortable with all of the technical side of it?
Yeah, Chris is doing mostly of the technical side of stuff, and so he's right on the money with all that stuff. Yeah, and everything else. I mean, even what Maria was talking about then, you know, your prep or the photos for your art department and all that stuff, they're kind of quite similar to what we do anyway in production. So I've got my head around the similarities and the differences with traditional filmmaking and Screenlife now as well. So that's all cool.
Great. Okay, so where are we now? It's really confusing me because we're still light outside and we're 10 minutes early. We usually don't finish until 6, do we? And then we have a little bit of a break. So today, the remainder of today, we're going to have a presentation from Ryan, who's going to talk to us about edit and motion graphics. But I don't know whether you want to go and have a break now, come back, 5 past 6, 10 past 6, and then kickstart on the second half.
Sounds like a plan, Joe. Just to say, I've been looking up that Modern Family episode. It's series 6, episode 16. It's called Lost Connection. Connection Lost, it's called. And I remember, this has come back to me now that Maria said that. It's a whole episode of Modern Family told through portals and screens. And we've been asking before how we do comedy in Screenlife, and it should always be about thrillers or, you know, teenage horrors. And it's a great example, that episode, of how you can do this stuff in different genres. It helps you've got the budget of Modern Family and the actors of Modern Family, but it's that will be on, you know, that's on Modern Family's on Netflix, I think. I want to say, I might be wrong
Disney
about
Plus,
that. What is it on now?
Disney Plus. It should be on Star.
Oh, it's Disney Plus now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you've got Disney Plus, but that's we might look up a clip of that, and when we come back, we might, for a couple of minutes, watch a little bit of that before we start with Ryan when we find that. Okay, so when we're coming back, Joe? 10 past.
10 past. We'll have a 20-minute one tonight because we had a shorter presentation.
Right. Okay. We'll come back 10 past 6. See you all in a minute.
All right. See you.